So I guess we can start right now. Well, I guess Jose will join us shortly. So let me just formally invite you all to our brand new Binance Live series, Finding Alpha by UniLend, where we will be uh, taking various topics and get to know the actual stuff about those topics from the industry leaders themselves. So today we will be diving deep into a fascinating topic, and it's none other than account abstraction and its future impact on the blockchain space. And joining us today in this evening for this alpha packed discussion here are Sparsh from Plena Finance, but he haven't joined yet, and William from Onto Wallet, and Jeremiah from Virtual Labs. So, welcoming you all, and thanks for joining in. Thanks a lot. So, yeah, I guess we can start with the questions. Yeah, I think Sparsh has joined. I have Sparsh joined.
Hey, hi guys. I'm audible?
Hi, hi, hi. Yeah, we were waiting for you.
Yeah, I was waiting on the Binance link.
Cool, cool. That's good. So,
Hey,
yeah, hi, hi, hi. So, yeah, as I already stated, they are all building something wonderful in this a niche. So, you listeners have a lot. By lot, I mean a lot to learn from this panel discussion because they are one of the industry leaders themselves. All of these people we have here right now. So, we have a lot to learn from them. So, without further ado, let's start with our panel discussion. I have a few questions here noted down with me, and I'll be throwing them at you guys because I'm a nobody, I'm just an intern. So, you'll answer it for our dear listeners. All cool?
sounds great.
Cool, cool, cool. So, let's start with our first question, and let's start with the basics. And it's what is account abstraction, and what's the impact the account abstraction that would have on the scalability and the efficiency of blockchain networks?
I don't know how you want to do this, but I guess I can go first, and maybe we can kind of
Yeah,
work
yeah,
to.
yeah. It's an open discussion. Anyone can go first. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, before like discussing what a kind of abstraction is, I think it's important just to make one like technical note, and that's that on like almost all EVM chains, everything is kind of run by generally two types of accounts. You have like EOAs, which are like a MetaMask wallet, for example, and then you have contract accounts, which is managed by smart contract code. And so this creates a dynamic where if a user wants to, I don't know, take part in like lending and borrowing from UniLend, for example, then they need to go to some like DEX or SEX, use fiat to get you a stable coin and exchange the stable coin for whatever their collateral is, go to UniLend, put up that collateral, and then, kind of continue on their day. And every time they're doing something, this is like an individual transaction that requires the user to pay gas fees as well as like sign this transaction through their wallet. So account abstraction solves this because it allows users to programmatically set not only like the effects of your transactions, but you can also determine how you want your fees to be paid, and you can determine how you want any of your transactions to be validated. So if any of you guys have worked in finance before, it's very similar to Excel macros or like a Lambda function, where you're just like giving your wallet effectively this like smart contract code and telling it this is how I want you to run, and then it can kind of bundle everything you tell it to do and do it all in one transaction. So yeah, it really kind of combines these two existing type of accounts into something simultaneously simpler for the user, but also on the back end a little bit more complicated.
Cool. That's a great, great answer. I think you covered like the all basics of account abstraction. And the follow-up question was, what impact could account abstraction have on the scalability and efficiency of blockchain networks? Can you add something on that, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. I also don't want to hog the stage, so if anyone else wants to jump in, feel free. I think
Right.
at the end there, I mentioned that the biggest thing that this does for the users is it just gives you more control. I mean, you can say, uh, okay, I want to be able to log in to this particular DApp using my Google, login, my social login, and so I can program it so that that happens. And that's just one example. This makes the user experience so much simpler because you don't need to kind of be worried about all these like very niche things that Web3 requires, such as like your seed phrase and your private key and all these things. You can kind of abstract all of that away and really just simplify your own user experience. So hopefully the goal is that this promotes onboarding for people who are used to a Web2 experience but want to be part of Web3.
That's
Cool.
super cool explanation. Spurge, William, do you want to add anything to it?
Sure. I think Jeremy covered pretty much everything. Like he explained how account abstraction works on, I would say, the top layer. Because if we get into the technical details, I think it would be pretty confusing for I would say, the audience. And answering about the scalability as well. So, as Jeremy explained, like how transactions go through on account abstraction wallets or smart contracts. It's that instead of sending one single transaction, you're actually batching a lot of transactions together. And then the smart contract wallet actually verifies, okay, if your account has actually signed it or not. And then it executes the transaction. So what happens is, like, since you're sending more complex data to the blockchain, and on EVM compatible blockchains, everything is computed by gas, right? So in like instead of the data that you're sending, right, instead of megabytes or KB, right, bytes. So it actually makes the blockchain less scalable. I don't think, I don't think that should be our concern. I think there are different solutions which the blockchains, which I would say the industry is working on to make it more scalable. But at this point, our main goal should be to onboard more users to Web3 and make it super easy for them to use these blockchain applications and also retain those users as well. Because currently, like what's happening is like everyone's investing in crypto, but less than 5% of those people are using any blockchain applications.
Interesting. So you are saying that okay, this can become less scalable, but obviously it will enhance the user experience, which
Yeah,
Jeremy
because
also
there has to
told
be
that.
more competition done on the blockchain side, but yeah, users do get the benefits as well. Like, for example, like if you're batching 7 to 8 transactions together and sending it to the blockchain, the computation being done on the blockchain is more, but you're able to save some fees on that as well. Because what happens is when you send a transaction to the blockchain, you pay a small fee. Like on Ethereum,
Mhm.
it's 21,000 gas, and instead of like sending those 8 to 10 transactions separately and paying that fees again and again, you're just paying that transaction fee once or that fee once.
Got it. William, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah and Smash also already gave a very good explanation of what account abstraction is and what their benefits is. I agree with their ideas that well, like they mentioned, batching transactions and making them much easier for users to interact with Ethereum blockchain and also other networks. I just want to add that, well, I think it's the really important thing is that it really makes it much easier. And because, when using externally owned accounts or EOAs, users need to sign their transactions each time and to use their private key. And so this, by using account abstraction, it really makes it much easier and also more secure to interact with blockchain and with smart contracts, because they do not need to it just abstract away the details of user accounts, and you don't need to use your private key. And also, if you accidentally lose control of your private key, well, you don't need to worry about losing access to your private key and worry about that others will get their hands on your private key and account information or details. So I think this really streamlines the transaction process and also making onboarding new users to the blockchain world much easier and also um, well, more interesting. So I think this is definitely will have a good impact on the efficiency, but also on the mass adoption of blockchain technology. Yeah.
Cool. I think yeah. So there are actually two three parts. One is that how are you abstracting the account, and then batching. So these are like different problems, but yeah, part of the same solution probably. So Abhinav, we can move ahead with our next question.
Cool, cool, cool. So all great answers. Let's move to the second question, and that is, in what ways do you guys think that AA or account abstraction could enable more sophisticated and flexible smart contract interactions, and what implications this might have for our DApp development or the DApp ecosystem as a whole?
I would say that the interaction with the smart contracts, it's very simplified when you're using account abstraction. I would say for the end user because they don't have to learn about a lot of this stuff, right? How the underlying technology is working on the blockchain side. And talking about the development as well, I think it reduces the development time for the developers by a lot because if I give you an example, right? So, for example, if there's an NFT marketplace which is selling NFTs in USDT and BNB. Now, if a user wants to buy a NFT which is being sold in BNB, he needs to buy BNB. But he only owns USDT, so what he needs to do is he needs to go to DEX and swap his tokens, and then come back and then buy that particular NFT. But with development, with account abstraction, what happens is like this all can happen in one single step, right? And the user can do all of that in one single transaction. And on top of that, it makes it super easy for the developer as well because he doesn't have to build a new smart contract to make it super seamless for the users, for the end user. He can just make one call to, let's say, 1 inch contract for swapping the tokens, and another call to his own existing smart contract, which will, let's say, buy that NFT for the user. So the user experience is being simplified as well, or it's making it super easy for the users to interact with the blockchain applications, and also it's saving the development or reducing the development time for the developers as well because they can use existing smart contracts and just add them in different, I would say, uh, they could actually batch those transactions and add different interactions with different smart contracts in one single call.
Great, great. Do Jeremiah or William has anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sparsh kind of nailed it on the head. The biggest thing is that currently, if you know, like as a developer, if you know the users are only using EOAs, then you are really concerned about the user having to interact with multiple smart contracts, which really just like kind of destroys the experience. So, I mean, to speak from experience, like Virtual Labs, we actually provide infrastructure for games. So think poker, blackjack, binary options, card games, so on and so forth. And for game developers, you really do not want your users, i.e., like the people playing your game, to have to be in game, like want to make a move, say in blackjack or poker, but then they need to like you get pulled out of the game because you get a MetaMask pop up and you need to like confirm the gas fee, and then you got to keep going on and doing this. Like that is so annoying, and the fact that by if you know that instead your users are using like a smart contract, i.e., like through account abstraction, then you don't really have to be worried about this because you can just assume that the user is going to programmatically like skip all of these intermediate steps. So it actually makes it simpler for the developer. And on top of that, it's just pretty cool, like some of the things that you can do with account abstraction. Like I know I've heard of people who have like integrated biometrics like into their account. So you like need to have your fingerprint or something like that. And I think what that does is it enables developers and users to just like create smart contracts in the most streamlined, simple way possible, uh, while allowing your users to effectively control like what they want. So you don't need to solve the user's problem for them. So yeah, I think that will definitely enable like more flexible smart contract interactions. The implications that this has for dApp development, I mean, I kind of just been talking about the whole time. Um, yeah, I think it simplifies the user experience, it gives them total control, and it just means that the developer doesn't have to be worried about like the user's experience as much or have to build around some of these problems.
That's cool. Like, I wanted to add one point that we can cover it into the next point, that how we are going to develop dApps for be compatible with different chains in the future. But to the current question, William, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to add one point because and for AA it really does enable more sophisticated and flexible smart contract because it allows smart contracts to act as something as intermediaries between end users and the blockchain. So and because smart contracts are programmable, so this means users can interact with blockchain in ways that were not previously possible. For example, they can create complex multi-step transactions, and that allows requires multi-signatures to initiate a transaction, to complete a transaction. So this is really adds to the flexibility of these kind of contract accounts, because they are customizable and users can just tweak transaction rules to suit their needs. And this means you can add like fancy features and also adding more security measures in ways you couldn't before. And for I think for dApp development, this really opens up a lot of possibilities because developers can create dApps that are more user friendly and intuitive, because users no longer need to manage their own accounts or worry about the technical details of blockchain transactions. So instead, they can simply interact with the dApp through a familiar and very easy to use interface, much like using a traditional application. So, and I think that AA allows some more complex step architectures. For example, for DeFi protocols, they rely heavily on smart contract interactions. So I think by using AA, it could lead to developing new types of dApps that are more flexible and can support a wider range of use cases. So, so I think this really can well leads to a lot of more possibilities, new possibilities. Yeah.
Cool, thanks, William. So, Ayush, do you have anything to add on to this, or shall we move to the next question?
Yeah, we can move ahead on the next question.
Cool. So let's move into our third question, and it is, how do you guys think can AA or account abstraction can be used uh, to enhance the security and privacy of blockchain transactions while also balancing regulatory requirements and compliance concerns.
Okay, so maybe I go first with this one. Okay, so I think AA really enhances the security and privacy of blockchain transactions because first of all, um, instead of directly interacting with their accounts, users um, can interact directly with smart contracts, and this in this way it enhances transaction security because, like I mentioned before, by using account contract account, users do not need to use private keys, and even if they don't need to worry about losing their private key and their account information being compromised and abused by malicious users. So I think this really helps enhancing the security of transactions, and also in AA, if you're using um, a contract account, if you lose your account, you can have the recourses to recover your account, like in what they call social recovery. Because if you're using an EOA, when you lose access to your private key, you lose access to your assets and to your account forever, and they are unrecoverable. But with account abstraction. So this is really interesting because I remember when I was growing up, I used to use some popular social platform, and this idea was implemented a long time ago, actually. So when you lose access, you don't when you lose access to your password for your account, um, one way that you can well get back the control of your account is by asking your friends to like acting like testifying for you so that the platform knows that you are the owner of this account. So with account abstraction, it also uses this method as social recovery to help you to recover your account. So I think this also enhances the security of contract account. And for privacy, because you don't the AA like extracts away a lot of account information and details of transactions, and so uh, it it also preserves your privacy. But while this is all very good, it also raises some regulatory concerns and compliance concerns. So I think well, and in the future, well, it's very important to address these concerns. So I think these networks or platforms can implement solutions such as zero knowledge proofs and privacy preserving technologies to make sure that they comply with regulatory requirements while still maintaining user privacy. Yeah.
Cool. Interesting take, William. That uh, like if we couple up AI with social recovery, this can become a very new field. Uh, Spursh, Jeremiah, any thing you want to add? I think this is a very important question altogether. That a lot of people might be thinking about the security eventually. So,
Mhm. So I think the only way to make your account abstraction wallet secure or any other wallet secure is to add multi-sig functionality to it, so that like there are multiple users or keys are being used to sign the transaction. And another secure, I would say, security feature that we have in our application is social login. So I think social login was available since 2018 or 2019, a while ago. It was called Taurus Wallet, and now they are known as Web3 also. Most of the account abstraction solutions are using their SDK only to create blockchain accounts from their social accounts like Gmail, Twitter, or Facebook. And the benefit that the users get with that is that even if you lose your private key, right, you can simply log in again, and you get access to your private key again, or your blockchain account again. And talking about user privacy, I think there is some sort of privacy, you can say, that when you're using account abstraction wallet, because the transactions that are being sent to the blockchain are sent by random relay accounts. But yeah, obviously that can be decoded as well, and it could be found out who's sending that transaction. The only way to achieve user privacy or in the blockchain space would be with ZK proofs, but I think we all saw what happened with Tornado Cash. So if anyone is building that, like, they have to build it in a compliant way.
Cool. I have one question. Like, let's say if somebody is using their social login, and if people can access their private key again, so this can also expose them to certain kind of risk. You know, if someone hacks or something and use your social login, they can access your private key. So, is there a way? I think there is a way where we can completely avoid the use of private keys.
I don't think that would be possible. Yeah, you can do it in a multiple ways. Like, you can use your like, it depends what you think is more secure, right? When you're using your Gmail account, like, you can use two-factor authentication or other ways to authenticate that, so no one is able to log in into your Gmail account. And I think that's the most secure way. In comparison to other, I would say verification method out there. So that's what I use, and I've seen that's what most of our users are using as well. Because if anyone wants to hack into my Gmail account, right, then they would have to get access to my mobile number as well, which won't be possible. And yeah, they need to figure out my password as well. And even if someone tries to log in, I get a notification right away, so I can simply change my password again with the help of my mobile number using a OTP.
Yeah, like adding redundancy is very much possible in this. So, yeah. Jeremy, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think William and Sparsh have really covered everything. I was just going to mention like the social login is a pretty big one, as well as the multi-sig for transactions. So like, I don't know if you're running an on-chain fund and you're an investor, like if you're going to make a really big uh, move of capital and maybe you want to have multiple partners sign this transaction so you could enable the multi-sig. Um, and then, yeah, the most talked about use case for this is definitely not having to manage your like private key and seed phrase, because it's just so cumbersome, right? Like, I think especially if you're building in the space, people generally hold multiple wallets because like you have one that's really personal, and then you have one that you're using for testing whatever you're building. And like as the number of wallets increases, like just gets like so bulky to remember and write down and kind of store these seed phrases and the private keys. So that's huge. The social recovery, which I think Sparsh already talked about, is also, or William already talked about, is also really big. So like now, instead of being fearful that if I lose my private key, I'm losing all the money I've ever put on the blockchain, I can kind of trust that, oh, well, if I lose access to my wallet, then there's social recovery, so I can have my friends kind of sign the wallet and it will, let me back into it. So yeah, I think they kind of cover most of it. In terms of the regulation concerns, I don't know if there's been any direct concerns over like account abstraction as a technology, but I think that it's definitely good to keep AA in mind in the broader context of regulators like investigating Ethereum and kind of holding up the CODA's law and the smart contract security, in high scrutiny. And I'm sure that, if users program some very complicated multi-step transactions using account abstraction, and if there's a bad actor, that like AA will come under further regulatory watch. I guess that point actually raises a further one, which is that AA is a double-edged sword when it comes to security. I mean, the user could hypothetically and also inadvertently program their wallet to kind of do something that they don't actually intend. So by giving control back to the users, on the one hand, this is a good thing, but on the other hand, it also means that they're more responsible for their own security, which, you know, for the unsophisticated user may not actually be the best thing. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Got it. Yes, definitely. Like whenever we talk about connecting socials and like things like that in blockchain space, it is kind of a tricky situation, and it depends. Like I think, but the major problem that we are trying to solve right now is that the user onboarding and the user experience, and definitely somebody who's not evolved with the whole blockchain space over the years, it is very difficult to understand and create different wallets and then again store the seed phrase securely. It's a bit of a task. So yeah, this kind of solves a lot of security problem on the which we are currently facing. But yeah, it can expose us to more threats, and we'll have to see. But overall, we are going into the right direction. So, AJ, let's go ahead with the next question. And viewers, please note that since the name is Finding Alpha. We will be sharing alpha about the projects, Plena, Onto, Virtual Labs. So please stay tuned till the end so you can definitely find those alphas which you are looking for. AJ, let's go ahead with the next question.
Yeah, let's move to the fourth question. And what do you guys think is the challenge or challenges that exist in standardizing account abstraction across different blockchain protocols? I mean, different chains, blockchains, and what steps are being taken now to address those challenges for a greater cross-chain compatibility?
I guess it's my turn to go first again. Um, so, like virtual, we pretty much live in EVM land. So I'm actually not like an expert in non-EVM chains or anything like that. And so this is maybe the question I'm like least equipped to answer. But what I do know is that there's pretty much no like standard way of implementing account abstraction. So like I think for people who want to build account abstraction wallets or offer this on like say Solana or Cardano or what have you, a lot of teams spend a lot of time effectively building the same thing and like creating the same building blocks, which is inefficient. So that kind of sucks. I guess the other thing that I'll bring up that I know is that it's very possible that account abstraction is not compatible with certain existing smart contract architecture. Um, I think what users can do is not necessarily unlimited, and especially for smart contracts that aren't like up to the current Ethereum standards, there's probably going to be some places where like everything's not backwards compatible and there's some issues there, and so like maybe there's unintended consequences or the user is not able to kind of create a transaction that they thought. So yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, we when we started, it was very, you know, the architectures were not developed in this way. So yeah, this can be a probability. Sparsh William,
Sure.
if you
I would
can.
say the major problems that these protocol face is that their developers also have to learn about account abstraction, right? And they have to spend time building their own solution. And if they're not building their own solution, if because we launched our own account abstraction SDK as well, and when I was talking to these their dev teams, I realized like they told me that the existing SDKs are difficult to integrate for some reason. And the way we built it was that the developers can use the same code that they're using for MetaMask and provide their users with, I would say, a better user experience like we're providing. and they only need to pass exactly the same code that they're using in MetaMask, right? So they don't have to do any more development, and they don't have to learn about the technicals of account abstraction, like learning about bundlers, paymasters, or anything like that, right? So they don't have to do it. And even after talking to them, I saw that like I think maybe because we are in the bull run, they aren't that fast to integrate that, right? Even if the development takes too less time, it's because they're more focused on their own project as of now, as I told you, because they're in the bull run and they have to show to the community what they're building, or maybe focus on the main problem that they're trying to solve as of now. But yeah, I think we would be seeing a lot more adoption of account abstraction solution or SDKs in the next 1 or 2 years. Maybe we would see many more dApps integrating that in the bear market when the bear market is about to start.
Got it. William, if you want to add anything.
Sure. So on this question, I'm actually not very knowledgeable. So but I know that well, currently there is a lack of unified standard for implementing account abstraction, and I don't think it's a good thing that well, each blockchain network um, well have their own unique implementation of AA, and because really will make it difficult for developers to create applications across multiple platforms. So I do think that while efforts need to be made to interoperability between different platforms, and um, well, I'm just looking forward to seeing well more developments on this front, and I think for big platforms like Ethereum, and they already have these implementations in place that enable well contract account and to be used to well actually really well already, but well perhaps more upgrades are needed to improve it further. So well, let's see.
Definitely. I think Sparsh made a very good point that currently a lot of blockchains which are focusing on things are probably because of bull run that is very skewed in certain direction. But yeah, account abstraction, the AI space is picking up pretty fast. So probably we'll see more updates and uh, into their future development about how they are making it more compatible with different blockchains. I think a lot of it depends on how open they want to keep their blockchain as well, because currently we have seen that a lot of effort has been made by by different L1s and L2s to gain the users. So they would obviously have that in mind, that how do we want to, probably go ahead with this thing, because their users might migrate or there can be certain issues. But yeah, interesting thing. Uh, let's move on to the next question. I think AJ is dropped because of some issue. Hope he joins back. So the next question is, how might the adoption of account abstraction reshape the way developers and end users interact with blockchain? And what new opportunities could this open for innovation in the space?
I would say, like for developers, it definitely reduces the development time because they don't, as I mentioned before, they don't have to develop the a new whole smart contract if they want to add a new feature. With account abstraction, if they want to add a new feature, they can just use an existing platform and interact with that smart contract in and along with all the other transactions that the user wants to do, or the dApp wants to allow, right? So after that, I think talking about the end users as well, obviously it makes it super easy for the users to use these blockchain applications, also to move funds or trade or do anything else on the blockchain, which wasn't possible before because it was super complex. Like if you're using an UA wallet, like you would see that if there's a new user who's trying to use that, he would definitely go back or move his funds back to centralized exchanges because he doesn't want to learn anything about the blockchain technology, right? And talking about the opportunities as well, right? So I think the next big problem that has to be solved is like because there are so many chains out there, right? Too many blockchains out there, so the users get confused which chain they should use, or when they have to move funds, it's super difficult for them because they have to wait the funds go there, then they interact with a different protocol. So I think the next big thing would be chain abstraction. So let's say if I want to buy a token on BNB from Polygon, right? I can simply do that in one single transaction or one single tap, and it would happen on BNB chain without me having funds on that chain as well. And I think buying a token is still possible, but the next big things could be like you're able to, let's say, if you lend your tokens like USDT and you're getting 4% APR on BNB chain, and you see that you're getting 12% on Ethereum chain, right? You would be able to withdraw your funds from BNB and lend it on a protocol on Ethereum and get a much higher interest rate on your investment as well. And without user having to understand or like what's happening in the backend or doing it manually.
Got it. Got it. William, if you want to add.
Oh, okay. So first of all, of course, for developers, I think it's really really simplifies the development process because it abstracts away the complexities of managing user accounts and transactions, so they can focus on building more innovative applications and services and without being bogged down by the technical details of blockchain integration. And also, well, I think AA can bring more innovation in areas such as DeFi, gaming, and even decentralized identity or NDID, um, well, which is also how wallets do. And I think developers can create more sophisticated and also user-friendly applications um, by using the power of smart contracts and decentralized networks, and so they can provide new solutions to real-world problems. And for end users, I think, just as we've discussed previously, and I think AA and contract accounts really provide a more intuitive and seamless user experience, and by making onboarding much easier and without the need to manage their private keys and account addresses. So I think for users, it's definitely a more secure and easier way to use blockchain technology. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Jeremiah, your take.
Yeah, I actually have to go here pretty soon. But I don't know. I mean, to wrap things up, I think like we've kind of talked about how like account abstraction will improve the user experience, how ideally it is better for developers, how it can promote security. And I think all of these things, when they come together, indicate that account abstraction will be pretty critical uh, if we want to increase like the amount of people from Web 2 in Web 3. With that being said, like there are still like a lot of problems. Like account abstraction is so expensive. This is, I mean, like well documented that interacting directly with smart contracts is more expensive in terms of gas than just like a regular EOA doing something. And people don't realize that that like kind of compounds, that adds up. So I think that's kind of like a hurdle that still needs to be addressed. Um, but like it remains that for the end users, like you have more control over how your funds are going to be used on a blockchain. You have more control over like, security protocols in case you get locked out. You have more control over like how dApps can use your funds. So overall, I think like it's good for the user, and for the developers, I think people will just continue to build in a way that doesn't need to account for like the user experience per se. And yeah, I think it makes things simpler for the developer as well. So In terms of new opportunities, I don't know. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing how people are creative with with the user operation and with like what they define as like what they want their wallet to be. So I think that'll be interesting, and who knows, maybe they'll like find some cool use cases.
Cool. Yeah. I think we have covered a lot of topics. The expensive part is still there. It actually brought me to one question that we can agree that this technology was existing beforehand, but is it like because of the evolution of blockchain, it is now the right time for account abstraction? And even if it is expensive, it is worth giving a shot. And it's like open question, anybody can take.
I would say the technology was there in 2020, maybe.
Mhm.
Uh, I forgot about one of the new opcode that was launched or released in with Solidity version. So even with Plena, right? So we were just trying to solve this major problem, which I saw in the space. So we were using account abstraction since 2021, and
Yeah.
that's a year before Vitalik published his white paper on this technology. And the only problem that we were trying to solve back then was that we have to simplify the user experience for the users, and that's how we came up with the whole, I would say, architecture. Like I built the whole architecture and everything, so that we could implement it in, I would say, the most gas efficient manner. Because the way Vitalik proposed it in his white paper, it was, I would say, 10 times more gas inefficient than what we had developed. And now we're
Right.
seeing that a lot of people are, I would say, the biggest ones are still also using the same, I would say, way that they build their whole solution in the same way that we have built it. And it's gotten, I would say, a bit cheaper. And the only problem right now is with in this in account abstraction is with I would say the signature verification hardly takes 30,000 gas or something less than that, or 30 to 50,000 gas. The major problem is, let's say, when you accept a token from a user, right? Let's say if you're accepting USDT for transaction fees on Ethereum chain, and paying the transaction fees in ETH for the user on the user's behalf, and the transaction fee is, let's say, $1. But now when you have to swap that token back to, let's say, Ethereum, right? You're paying $1 more. So you're not able to make money on that, or you're just charging that user a lot more money. But I think we would be like, even on these chains, I think these blockchains would get way more cheaper in the next few years. And we would see that a lot more people are using account abstraction, right? Account abstraction solutions, whichever app you're using, it would be using account abstraction, or maybe some other advanced technology. But yeah, the user experience that account abstraction is providing, it would definitely be there.
Interesting. It's cool things that you guys have achieved at Plena. So, anything you want to add, or we can move ahead to the alpha part? Jeremiah, William.
No, I think Sparsh covered most of that.
Cool, cool, guys. So, I think it's been a long discussion about AI, and I think a lot of our audience, which uh, tuned in, probably got a very decent, in-depth idea of how AI is going to, shape up into the future. So it's time for our partner project to just drop some alpha for our audience, so that they can be ahead of the curve. And after that, I'll also drop some alpha. So we can start with Jeremiah.
Yeah, sure. So we have an ongoing virtual points campaign, and the points will convert to a token when we TGE. So if you follow us on Twitter, which I'll put in the chat, it's at 0x virtual labs. Send us a DM, take a screenshot or something that you were in the stream, and we can drop you some virtual points.
That's cool. Let me ping this to our team, so they'll I think put it on Binance live chat, or even if you are not able to see it, I'll again repeat at 0x Virtual Labs. it's pretty easy. Yeah, our team has done it. So please do guys check it out. You will be able to earn points and rewards. So that's something which everybody wants. Now let's go ahead with William was first.
Okay, so guys, we're about to launch our token, and we would be doing public sale on, I would say, top launch pads as well. So you could actually get an allocation there, or you can actually download our application and apply for whitelist spots. Along with that, we're doing some campaigns as well. There are a few ongoing campaigns inside our application in the quest section, so you can actually earn Plena tokens and also our partner projects tokens as well. I'll share the link in the chat box so you guys can just follow us on Twitter and Telegram and get the latest updates there.
Yeah, guys, do follow UniLend as well, and we have already tweeted about this live, and we'll also post all the relevant links in the thread itself. So even if you are missing it out, you can definitely check it out there, and you will get the access to the contest and whatever things are happening. I think it's pretty cool, Spurs, that you guys are launching a token. We are looking forward. So, William, anything from your side? Drop us some fast.
Okay, okay, sure. So we are about to host some joint giveaways with our partners, and definitely join us for these giveaways. I'll type just our Twitter account here, so you can follow our latest events, and also, well, if you follow us, we can give away some collapse NFTs to use, and well, we'll also have another joint giveaway where we'll have 100 NFTs provided by one of our partners. So do follow us and stay tuned for more events. Yeah, thanks.
That's cool. That's cool. So, guys, that's enough alpha. But from Uniland side, I can say that we are already uh, focusing on lending and borrowing, but there's something to look into the space, the account abstraction, chain abstraction space. So, do check out our pinned tweets and do wait for Monday. So we are going to drop a major announcement. So please stay tuned, and it is going to be very exciting. Thank you, Jeremiah William. I think Spurs has to leave. I didn't expected this discussion to last this long, but it was pretty interesting, and I think everyone of us enjoyed it, and hopefully the audience must have enjoyed it as much as we have done. Thank you guys for taking out time in this bull run and joining us for the Binance Live. Any parting notes?
Okay, so thank you for having me, and it has been a very rewarding and exciting conversation with you. And also, thank you, Jeremiah. It's a very good conversation. And so, just on a side note, we're also developing contract accounts and AA in our wallet. So, well, stay tuned for more updates. Yeah, and thank you again for having me.
Oh man, blown away! Like lot of alphas dropping, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
likewise. Thank you to UniLend. Thank you to William and Sparsh for hosting this. Great conversation. I actually have to jump to another call now. But yeah, follow us on Twitter at Xerox Virtual Labs. You'll see us there. We're in the midst of a campaign which we're calling Mainnet Madness. So we're launching a new partner every single week. And we have a super secret project dropping later this summer. So stay tuned for that. And with
that's
that, I
cool,
got to
man.
drop. So take care, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Have a good day. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We crossed 2K
Thank
viewership.
you.
That's pretty crazy.
Bye.
And you can find the links and other things from our Telegram community and Twitter page. So do follow us. Our team has already mentioned all the usernames to follow. Cool, guys. Thanks for joining. Peace out.